Hello and welcome to the Angus Report, a news program geared toward cattle producers. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Paige Wallace. From American Angus Association headquarters in St. Joseph, Missouri, we bring you the week's top headlines, including a look at recent Farm Bill activity in the House of Representatives.
We discuss the profitability outlook for both feedlots and stockers.
A certified Angus beef program is teaching meat sales staff the advantages of quality beef.
And an Illinois cattleman shares how he gets the most out of his Angus sired calves.
This is the Angus Report.
Our top story for the week: the House Agriculture Committee is considering its own version of the 2012 Farm Bill. Somewhat similar to what the Senate passed earlier this summer, the House bill reduces government spending on agriculture subsidies and food stamps. The legislation could eliminate an estimated $35 billion in current spending. Now, if approved by the entire House of Representatives, then lawmakers from both chambers must work together to craft compromise legislation.
The Senate Agriculture Committee took the Farm Bill to the Senate floor and it passed favorably. 64 senators voted in favor of the Farm Bill that the Senate version had, and it is now moving forward in the House. And what's important about this Senate Farm Bill passing is that it's the first of many steps that we need to get a new Farm Bill before the current Farm Bill, the 2008 Farm Bill, expires in September of this year. In NCBA, our general membership, were very pleased with the version that passed the U.S. Senate. We had a few amendments that we were very nervous about and concerned about, but happy to report that they did not have enough support to even come for a full vote in the U.S. Senate. We are now turning our focus onto the U.S. House.
An international committee has adopted maximum residue standards for ractopamine, a growth-promoting feed ingredient intended for cattle and pigs. Ractopamine has been a sticking point for trade negotiations in the European Union, China, Taiwan, and other countries that ban pork and beef from animals fed the growth promoter. During a recent meeting of the Codex, a United Nations program that sets international food standards, participating countries voted in favor of science-based standards. It was the 5th time the UN program considered setting a maximum residue limit, although the feed additive has been approved in 26 countries, including the U.S.
The outlook for feedlots versus stocker operations offers some stark contrasts. That's according to Oklahoma State University's Darrell Peel, who discusses how high feeder cattle prices and feed costs affect both sectors and what it means long term.
You know, within the beef industry, there's oftentimes a trade-off between who's making money at any one point in time, but the contrast right now is much more marked than usual and more fundamental. Feedlots right now basically have all strikes against them. They're paying record high prices for feeder cattle, they're paying record high prices for feed, and increasingly as we go forward with limited feeder cattle supplies, they're going to have difficulty maintaining capacity, which means that their overhead costs on a per unit basis are going to be higher as well. On the other hand, you know, in contrast to the feedlot sector, the stocker industry has fairly strong economic incentives built into today's market. If you look at current price levels, even though these lightweight calves are very expensive, when you figure out the value of putting on weight on cattle, every one of those pounds is worth significantly more than the cost of production right now, particularly in the summertime when we're using grazing-based forage resources that are as cheap as any feed resource we have. And so the industry is getting a signal, on the one hand, to use less concentrate feeds at the feedlot sector, but more forage resources to replace that at the stocker sector. And it's the way the market works to help us reallocate, not only in the short run, but probably long-term in a more fundamental sense.
1/2 of the beef sold in the U.S. is served at restaurants, but it takes work to keep it on the menu, especially as supplies get tighter and prices go higher. Recently, the Beef Checkoff sponsored an event to help some of the nation's top chefs explore creative ways to put beef on restaurant menus. Brian Baxter has more in this report from California.
There was sizzle in the kitchen and plenty of beef on the menu as some of America's leading restaurant chefs participated in an event funded by the Beef Checkoff and designed to give these culinary professionals new beef menu ideas.
Beef is #1 on their menu, and we need to keep it there because that's important. We've come up with these new ideas, be it the country style ribs or the flat iron or any of these other cuts, and they're just excited to have new cuts to put on their menu at different price points.
Held in California at the Culinary Institute of America at Greystone, the Beef It's What's on the Menu event brought together culinary decision makers from leading restaurants, retailers, and packers. The experience included sessions on beef economics and sustainability, cutting demonstrations, and hands-on work cooking with new beef cuts.
It's actually, I saw a couple of interesting cuts, like the Denver, cut, the rancher steak. I think those are very beneficial, especially for a concept like Chili's, that we can obviously bring a quality product to our customers at an affordable price.
In addition to funding from the National Beef Checkoff Program, checkoff dollars from Texas, California, Kansas, Iowa, South Dakota, and Florida made the education event possible.
It's a small investment that'll have huge returns, hopefully, for the industry. If we get more items on the menus throughout the industry, that can really help.
Altogether, more than 30 chefs participated in one of two two-day sessions, taking home insights and information to help keep beef on the menu. I'm Brian Baxter reporting.
The 2012 National Junior Angus Show kicks off this week in Louisville, Kentucky. The annual event is the summer highlight for many cattle families across the country. And throughout the week, more than 700 youth will lead more than 1,500 Angus cattle in the show ring. Angus Juniors will also participate in several contests, including the ever-popular All-American Certified Angus Beef Cook-Off. Visit Angus.org and Facebook and Twitter pages to keep up with the latest show results and news. We'll offer more comprehensive coverage of the National Junior Angus Show and how Angus youth are contributing to agriculture in a special episode that airs August 6th. When the Angus Report returns, we'll discuss the cattle feeding business with Tom Brink of JBS Five Rivers Cattle Feeding.
But first, we'll learn how an educational program is driving beef sales.
Visit Angus.org to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.